Network Entertainment.
Yung livability or where is the best place to live, ano siya, very subjective siya na concept in itself. Though. For example, yung isang area para sa akin, napaka-livable, pero para sa ibang tao siguro hindi nila gusto yun. Relating that to urban planning, etong issues with the deprived urban areas or slums, very invisible, the invisible yung term nila kasi wala sila sa maps. So parang kinakalimutan sila. So when may ginagawang mga interventions yung mga urban planners, yung mga local governments, if wala yung mga deprived urban areas or slums sa maps, parang pwede tayong mag-develop ng ganito dito. And then pagdating nila doon, like, ay, ang dami pala ng dito, slums. So, need natin anong mga interventions nila. So, yung purpose ng paper namin is parang to put them on the map, but also parang to put their voices in the creation of those maps.
Sa tuwing nagbabasa kayo ng mga research papers, nagtataka din ba kayo kung paano ito naisipan gawin ng mga researchers? Paano nila na-transform ang idea nila para maging isang actual na research project? Saan sila kumuha ng funding para magawa to? Paano nila nalaman na ang results nila ay pwede na nilang ipasa for publication? Dito, sa Behind the Science podcast, ay kakausapin natin ang ating mga Pinoy scientists para ibahagi hindi lang ang mga resulta ng kanilang pag-aaral, kundi pati na rin ang mga behind the scenes or behind the science stories nito. Simula sa kung paano nila ito naisipan gawin hanggang sa na-publish na nila ito. So this podcast is in partnership with the UP Resilience Institute, the Philippine Agricultural Scientist, the Philippine Journal of Fisheries, and SciEngJ. So ang UP Resilience Institute ay long-time partners na namin dito sa podcast. Nung nagsisimula pa lang kami, nandyan na sila para tumulong sa amin. At para lang sa kaalaman ng lahat, ako ngayon ay isang UPRI Research Fellow. The Philippine Agricultural Scientist is the first international journal in the Philippines and Southeast Asia in the field of agriculture. It is published by the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, College of Agriculture and Food Science. It publishes articles in the fields of tropical agricultural science and related areas including environmental science, food science, engineering, biotechnology, economics, rural sociology, development communication, agroforestry and silviculture, and marine and fishery science. The Philippine Journal of Fisheries is the official publication of the Department of Agriculture, National Fisheries Research and Development Institute. It covers all aspects of fisheries, both in basic and applied sciences, as well as related fields of studies such as capture fisheries, aquaculture, post-harvest technology, marketing and industry, ecology, oceanography, conservation, biotechnology, food safety, socioeconomics, and systematics in freshwater, estuarine, marine, and other identifiable water habitats. SciEngJ, formerly known as the Philippine Science Letters, is the official journal of the Philippine American Academy of Science and Engineering. It covers studies in the natural, physical, mathematical, computational, and social sciences, including those related to agriculture, health, engineering, environment, education, and technology. So kung may paper kayong gustong i-publish at pasok ito sa scope ng mga journals na ito, please consider submitting to one of them. At syempre, importante, take note na hindi kayo pwede mag-submit ng sabay-sabay sa 3 journals na ito. Kasi bawal yon. Dapat sa isang journal muna kayo mag-submit. At ang mga journals na to ay index na rin sa Web of Science, Scopus, ASEAN Citation Index, and sa Imago Journal Ranking. Kaya masisiguro nyo dito ang mataas na standard at mabusisi na review process para masiguro ang high quality papers na pinapublish. So if you're interested in publishing your research in one of these journals, check nyo ang guidelines at ang links ay nasa description. Magandang araw mga kapwa-scientista at welcome sa isa na namang episode ng Behind the Science podcast. Ako si Paul Flores, ang inyong host, and our guest is currently a PhD candidate and MS degree holder in Geoinformation Science and Earth Observation at ITC University of Twente, the Netherlands. He graduated BS Computer Science from UP Cebu and has worked extensively on environmental and humanitarian applications using GIS, remote sensing, deep learning, and image processing. So without further ado, let's all welcome Dr. Florencio Campomanes V.
Hindi pa doktor.
Ay, hindi pa ba? Di ba ano na? Pwede na yun, basta PhD candidate.
Talaga.
Ang alam ko, ganun eh.
Oo.
Almost doctor. Almost
Almost
doctor.
doktor.
So,
Hello.
ayun, welcome sa podcast, Enzo.
Hello, thank you Paul for having me.
Backstory lang pala, nag-meet kami dati ni Enzo sa conference sa AGU, yung American Geophysical Union 2024
Four.
sa Washington. So, ayun.
Full circle.
Yeah. Tapos, ayun, bago pala tayo magsimula, no, kung nag-enjoy kayo dito sa podcast at gusto nyo ang ginagawa namin dito, paki-like naman ang episode na ito at mag-subscribe na rin kayo sa mga social media platforms ng Behind the Science Podcast. Makikita nyo kami sa Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Facebook. Paki-rate na rin kami ng 5 stars para mas madami pa tayong maabot na audience. So ang topic natin ngayon, actually very interesting to na paggamit ng AI, no? Gagamitin mo yung AI for urban planning. At bago natin pag-usapan yung research na to, episode recommendations lang na medyo related dito. Please check episode 25 with Miss Joy Santiago. Ang pinag-usapan namin doon ay pag-incorporate ng climate and disaster risk assessment sa mga comprehensive land use plan natin dito sa Pilipinas. At episode 85 with Mr. 75 with Mr. Isaac Bisara. Currently PhD student din siya at the same university, no, sa University of Twente. At yung pinag-usapan namin doon ay kung paano maapektuhan ng climate change yung flood risk ng Leyte. So ayun, the usual, bago natin pag-usapan yung research, kilalanin muna natin si Enzo as well as yung naging journey niya as a scientist. So Enzo, di ba, nag-graduate ka ng computer science tapos ngayon yung research mo na more on sa GIS. So siguro backtrack natin. Bakit computer science yung pinili mo na kurso nung college ka?
Bakit computer science? So yung kasi nung siguro mga third year, fourth year high school, mostly sa fourth year high school, may programming sa Cebu City National Science High School. May programming course, parang TLE programming course na class sa high school. Tapos yung pa yun na yung pinagsusulat pa yung code on paper. Parang magko-code ka, Visual Basic, tapos magko-code ka, pero yung ipapakita mo sa teacher yung yung handwritten, oo. Tapos for some reason parang na-enjoy ko yung yung parang yung sinusunod yung yung value ng variable na yun. So for example, yung x, tapos dumadaan siya ng mga iba-ibang process, math, whatever, operations. Tapos pagkatapos sa dulo, yung x equals 20, ganun. Tapos parang na-enjoy ko yung pagsunod ng process na yun. So sabi ko, nung UPCAT, anong course daw, yung primary, yung first choice, second choice, ganun. So parang yun lang naman yung na-enjoy ko so far sa mga kasi talagang hindi ako ma-biology, yung mga parts of the cell, yung mga hindi ko na tapos sabi ko hindi naman ako magme-med kasi takot ako sa sa needles. Takot ako sa injection. So parang enjoy naman tong computer science. Sige, ma-try nga. So ayun, na-enjoy naman talaga for 4 years dun sa UP Cebu. So ayun, kaya nag-computer science. At tapos din, I think sabi din ng nanay ko na, okay yan. Parang may dyan, may pera dyan, hopefully.
Nung
So,
college ba, ginagawa nyo pa rin yung handwritten na programming?
Hindi na. Pero yung notes. Pero hindi na yung parang magko-code ka ng isang buong lab
Ah.
exercise tapos isusunod sa high school lang talaga yun, 4th year high school. Oo.
Paano niyo kaya yun iche-check yung ano, 'di ba yung may spacing yun halimbawa nasa for loop ka tapos may number of spaces. Paano mo yun iche-check sa ano, sa handwritten na code?
Oo nga eh. Feeling ko nga parang hindi namin sinunod yun eh. Like kung yung mga indentation, wala as in lahat left aligned lahat yung code.
Eh, di mali-mali pala yung ano, mga pinagko-code niyo dun sa papel.
Oo. Pero feeling ko kasi yung if tama ba yung yung Visual Basic, hindi siya sa indentation, unlike sa Python. So hindi siya, parang okay lang na left aligned sila lahat. Natatawa talaga ako dun kasi parang, anong use dito? Pero medyo na naman, na parang masasanay ka din sa parang structure ng code, gano'n.
Ayun, so speaking of dun nga sa sinabi ng nanay mo na may pera diyan sa computer science, ano ba yung job opportunity after college para sa isang computer science graduate?
Actually, yun yung kasi, hindi ako nag-apply ng mga tech jobs sa private kasi like sa corporate. Kasi, well first, I think siguro mga few months before graduation nag-ano na kami yung isang prof namin parang nagka-project sila ng DOST, yung PhilLiDAR project. So parang, nag-ano siya sa'min, parang, nag-ask around na, "Oh, sa mga wala pang diyan, wala pang trabaho diyan, may opportunity ganito." Tapos yung pang-ano niya, ah malaki yung sweldo tapos, na makaka-travel around kayo ng Pilipinas. Yan yung pang-ano niya, eh. Hindi pa sinabi kung ano yung trabaho, eh.
Basta
Parang
may pera 'no?
oo, basta, medyo malaki yung sweldo compared sa parang entry level na tapos makaka-travel around kayo ng Pilipinas. Eh, kami na mawawalang kasi by that time may iba na may parang may offer na sila, eh. Siguro mga 1-2 months before graduation, like may offer na sila from mga private companies 'no, mga tech companies. Pero personally din parang never ko nakita yung sarili ko sa, private industry. Parang, actually never pa ako naka-work in the private industry, ever since kasi nag-start ako. First job ko was PhilLiDAR, eh, PhilLiDAR 1, PhilLiDAR 2, sa UP Cebu. So, ayun parang, hmm, what masasabi ba natin na may pera? Oo, medyo malaki naman yung sweldo ng DOST pero yun nga, contractual gano'n.
Yung
Pero,
PhilLiDAR under siya nung NOAA 'di ba? Tama ba yung pagkaalala ko?
ano siya, parang siyang spin-off ng DREAM project na parang nagko-collect ng LiDAR data for pero, closely related kasi yung isang component ng PhilLiDAR 1, yung flood model component nila I think was headed by Dr. Mahar Lagmay. So, medyo related din, not exactly parang under pero, um related, spin-off in a way, oo.
Ito 'di ba yung parang may maliit na plane na lilipad tapos sumakay
Oo.
ka sumakay ka dun sa loob ng plane?
Hindi yung namin parang, pero pinakita sa'min yung picture, eh, na yung binutasan yung eroplano tapos may maliit na tao na parang operator, dapat
Oo.
maliit kasi yun nga medyo masikip. Pinakita sa'min yung picture pero hindi kami yung yung nag-a-acquire ng data. Na kami yung post acquisition na part, oo, analysis na. Kaya medyo din medyo relevant din yung mga kasi most sa'min computer science, mga PS Math, na grad yung mga first hires dun sa PhilLiDAR 1 and 2 ng UP Cebu. Tapos, kaya medyo relevant siya kasi yung post-processing na siya, yung parang analysis na. So may, images na, yun nga lang wala kaming background on GIS at all. Kasi never naman yun na take up namin. So, wala talaga kaming background sa GIS. Pero yun nga, at least may training naman from UP Diliman, yung parang head university at that, yung lead university at for that project. So, nagte-train sila, what is GIS, paano gamitin, ganun. So, natuto din somehow.
So from being an RA for many years, bakit ka naman nag-decide na mag-pursue na ng grad school at paano nag-open up yung opportunity na yan?
So, actually very funny story yan kasi so 2014 ako nag-start ng age reveal, no? 2014 ako nag-start sa PhilLiDAR 2, tapos sa 2016 year 2, year 3, may opportunities for foreign travel, for foreign conferences. Tapos isa doon was GeoBia, wala ng GeoBia ngayon pero GeoBia 2016. Tapos yung venue sa ITC, sa University of
Nandyan
Twente,
sa inyo.
oo. Tapos pero hindi ko pa alam, wala pa akong medyo idea doon about sa ITC. Tapos so yun, I think it was like October 2016, punta ko dito. Tapos parang maganda. Pero nagtanong-tanong ako if may mga possible masters or parang opportunities
Mm.
kahit hindi grad school, no, just like opportunities. Ano ba yung mga possibilities to come to Europe, ganun. Pero yun, medyo walang 2016, then 2017 nag-shift na kami from PhilLiDAR 2 to Center for Environmental Informatics or CENV sa UP Cebu. Tapos nung when COVID hit, tapos parang medyo na na ako, parang need ko ng something else, need lang yung feeling ko kasi parang nagiging stagnant ako in a way. Hindi naman stagnant pero, like parang nagiging routine or paulit-ulit na yung
Mm.
ginagawa ko in a way. So nothing new. So parang gusto ko gumawa ng something else. So, naghanap ako ng possible masters ta's nag-come up yung ITC. So, ito yung pinuntahan ko nung 2016, Tapos ayun nag-apply, nakakuha ng, scholarship somehow. And then kasi imagine mo 6 years na yun since 6 years since, bachelor's na graduation. So, after 6 years parang, kaya ko pa ba mag-aral? Alam ko ba paano mag-aral? So ayun, anyway sabi ko, sige na, sayang naman kasi 'di ba kasi nag-apply ako the year before pero hindi ako umabot sa deadline ng scholarship. So the following year na na nag-hit na yung COVID, aware na ako sa deadline. So, yun nakakuha ng scholarship. In the peak of COVID, nag-travel to the Netherlands. Ako lang mag-isa sa room ko, naka-face mask, face shield, lahat kumpleto.
Nagka-face shield
Tapos
din diyan sa Netherlands?
dun sa sa eroplano mismo, sa eroplano pa mismo. Pero pagdating ko ng Netherlands, wala I think hindi, mask na lang, oo. Ay actually yung
Kalokohan
pagdating
lang
ko
talaga yung face shield na yun, eh. Naiinis ako 'pag naalala ko yun, eh.
yung parang shades na
Daming kung ano-anong design ng face shield na lumabas nung panahon na yun, eh. Yung ginagawa mo pa na cup tapos
Oo.
ibabawangan.
Ah, ayun, pero pagdating ko dito parang yun yung time na nag-o-open up na sila ng onti. So medyo okey naman. Pero nag-lockdown din ulit tapos pero ayun, then nung nag-start ako medyo nagustuhan, like parang maganda naman 'to, and din, I think yung training din na nakuha namin from PhilLiDAR and CENB, very useful siya nung nag-start ako sa masters. Kasi parang, familiar na ako dito, marunong na medyo alam ko na 'to, yung some parts nito, pero may mga new learnings pa rin like, um Like, yung mga foundations, yung parang, alam ko ito yung ginagawa pero hindi ko alam bakit. Then sa masters ko nalaman kung, kaya pala ginagawa yun kasi dahil XYZ. So, ayun, medyo ano naman, pero ever since PhilLiDAR, ever since from graduation ng bachelor's to PhilLiDAR, parang medyo na ano na ako na parang gusto ko tong parang yung geospatial, geoinformation science, earth observation na field. Parang very interesting siya na nakikita ko din yung parang very societally relevant siya. Um, Parang madali siyang makita yung connection to society. I'm not saying na yung iba hindi siya related pero mas direct, medyo mas direct yung link. Kasi kita mo agad na very societal applications agad. So, ayun.
Ang interesting din sa akin na parang nag-circle back ka dun sa ano mo, sa college degree mo na
Oo.
computer science, AI related na rin naman
Oo.
AI related yung ginagawa mo ngayon.
Oo. Kasi nung masters din, nag-take ako ng isang course, yung Advanced Image Analysis course, para siyang intro to AI na course. Na at that time, feeling namin ng mga barkada ko at sa masters na parang ito yung best elective or parang best subject to na sa entire masters. Though elective siya, pero sobrang sikat niya na course. Tapos, nung sa class na yun parang na-refresh yung bachelor, yung pagka-computer science graduate ko na parang machine learning. Like, napag-usapan na namin to before pero ilang years ago. Tapos, ayun, nung so parang feeling ko na-a-apply naman talaga yung computer science anywhere. Depende lang talaga sa application mo. In this case lang, parang image analysis lang, except your image, satellite image, instead of parang normal yung natural images na natitake ng camera.
Ang interesting nga niyan sa akin kasi ngayon medyo AI related din yung ginagawa ko for my postdoc. Tapos may mga binabasa ako na yung mga papers, 'pag babasahin mo siya parang na-encounter ko na 'to dati sa sa remote sensing yung mga ganitong terminologies. So parang ang mind-blowing lang sa akin na matagal na yung idea na 'to ng AI machine learning, pero ngayon lang siya talagang nag-boom na ina-apply sa lahat ng fields. So
Oo, oo. Sa sobrang dami ng fields ngayon na kasi kasi ang daming data 'di ba? Yun naman
oo.
yung like, for so many years nagko-collect tayo ng data tapos ngayon parang ang dami pala nating data. Paano natin 'to magagamit? And then one of the parang more straightforward ways to use data or parang to make sense of the data is yun yung machine learning.
Hmm,
And then if sobrang dami ng data mo, deep learning.
oo. Tsaka feeling ko rin ngayon siguro hindi napapansin ng karamihan na baka machine learning na pala yung ginagawa nila. Lalo na yung mga clustering na yan.
Oo, oo.
Yun na rin yung backbone
Part
ng
na.
machine learning, eh.
Oo. Yun nga kasi very common na siya 'di ba sa
So ayun, I guess ayun, madami na kaming napagkuwentuhan ng naging journey ni Enzo. Ngayon focus naman siguro tayo dun sa naging paper niya. So ang title nito ay Whose City Is It? Mapping Perceived Urban Livability with Citizen-Guided AI. So first question lagi dito sa segment na 'to, can you explain yung paper na 'to in one sentence tungkol saan ba ito?
So yung paper na 'to is about, tinuturuan natin yung AI, using knowledge from different perspectives para malaman kung saan yung best place to live in a certain area. So, in one sentence, in one very short sentence. Many things to unpack pero
Oo. Actually para sa akin, very intriguing yung title, lalo na dun sa first few words na whose city
Whose
is
city
it?
is it?
So, can you explain bakit ganito
Bakit
yung
gano'n?
title at
Yung
ano yung background bakit nyo ginawa yung study na to?
So yung main project talaga is on deprived urban area or slum mapping in Africa, in 3 different countries, 6 cities around Africa. Yung question, yung whose city is it? Kasi yung livability or where is the best place to live, ano siya, very subjective siya na concept in itself, 'no. For example, yung isang area para sa akin napaka-livable, pero para sa ibang tao siguro hindi nila gusto yun. So, uh, then relating that to urban planning, um, may etong issues with the deprived urban areas or slums. Very invisible, the invisible yung term nila kasi wala sila sa maps. So parang kinakalimutan sila. So when um, may ginagawang mga interventions yung mga urban planners, yung mga local governments, uh, if wala yung mga deprived urban areas or slums sa maps, parang pwede tayong mag-develop ng dito. And then pagdating nila dun, like, ay, ang dami pala ng dito, slums. So, need natin anong mga interventions nila. So, yung purpose ng paper namin is parang to put them on the map, but also parang to put their voices in the creation of those maps. So, yung tanong na whose city is it is parang um, kaninong perspective ba ang masusunod? And actually yung sagot is uh, wala. It's everyone's. Walang specific voice. Yung nangyari kasi was yung main research question namin was may difference ba sa what is if yung sa tanong na which is a better place to or what is the best place to live, may difference ba ang local government, like local stakeholders, local government, yung planners, and yung residents mismo ng deprived urban areas or slums. And yun na nga, yung outcome was may differences and may similarities din as medyo as expected, no. So may certain areas na very considered low livability or hindi hindi kaaya-aya to live in. And may areas na high livability and may areas na low livability for the residents, and then may areas of low livability for the planners na magkaiba. And then may areas din of low livability na magkapareha. So like may convergence din. And then tiningnan namin like ano ba yung differences na to? For example, yung sa residents, yung coastal area talagang low, no not a good place to live, yung coastal area nila. Pero sa planners parang hindi naman siya high livability, pero ano lang, okay lang, pero hindi siya low. And then sa um, urban planners naman, medyo dun sa may river na may dense area sa gitna. Para sa residents naman, okay lang. Hindi naman masyadong in the middle, pero low livability siya for planners. And then dun sa medyo talagang urban dense na very dense area, sila both nag-agree na low livability area siya. So yung point namin was if hindi natin pinakinggan yung residents, etong map na to is very biased towards yung perspective of what is a livable place dun sa urban planning, sa mga planners, mga city planners, academe, ganun. Compared mo, then parang if ito yung sinunod natin for certain interventions, hindi siya tugma dun sa actual perspectives ng people who live there. Kasi yun yung problem eh. We make maps for people, di ba? But we tend to forget na i-include yung people na yon in the creation of those maps. So, and kung saan pumapasok yung AI is to scale. So yung previous paper ng isang advisor ko from Spain was on similar topic, similar methodology, pero within the slums lang, within the deprived areas. So within the deprived areas, saan yung pinaka-livable? May mas livable and less livable areas of the slums.
Okay.
Oo. Pero yung ginawa ko, kasi need to ng maraming data, may app kami on an online web app na para mag-choose ng which is a better place to live. Ang dami niyang need na data. Then i-multiply mo pa yan, parang exponentially mag-grow siya if citywide, if hindi lang within the slums. So kung citywide na sobrang dami ng I think parang 23 million comparisons na of which is a better place to live, na sobrang dami. So yung ginawa namin was this AI voter trained on yung limited data namin on the perspectives of each group. And then
Wait. I-ano ko lang tama yung pagkaintindi ko. Bale, parang kinuha niyo yung perspective ng mga planners, tapos ginamit niyo yun to train
to train an AI.
yung AI para ma-scale yung perspective nila. Tapos kumuha din kayo ng perspective nung mga nakatira sa slums. Tapos yun naman ang ginamit sa AI para ma-scale din yung views nila. So parang dalawang AI model. So isang para dun sa planner at isa sa slum. Ayos
And then gumawa din kami ng parang combined na na kinombine namin yung votes nila, yung parang yung data nila, yung perspectives nila. So yung sa paper kasi yung ginawa naming study area was in Ghana. So parang Ghanaian perspective na siya. Hindi na siya planners and residents, pero parang local perspective na siya of Ghana. And ayun, so tatlong AI voter actually. And then yung maganda sa approach namin, itong methodology namin, is yung division ng data. Ito, planners tsaka residents. Pero pwede din siya, for example, ano ba yung perspective ng female voter and male voter? Or female person or male person, no? May difference ba yung male, yung what is the best place to live for a male and best place to live for a female? May difference ba, for example, for elderly and younger people? May difference ba in ano yung perspective nila in livability? So, isa yun sa parang future din na parang, uy, pwede, di ba? Pwede natin yan gawin later on.
Kailangan nyo rin ng madaming tao na kukunan ng ganong perspective para matrain yung AI.
Oo. Pero actually kasi, yung pagkakuha namin ng participants namin, medyo well distributed na, well represented na yung age, in terms of age group, in terms of gender. So medyo well represented. Pero yun nga, hindi pa rin siya yung statistically representative na sample. Pero need din talaga ng maraming ng data doon. Actually may ginawang MS master's thesis related dito. Dutch kasi siya. So yung student, MSc student na Dutch, yung ginawa niya, the same images in Ghana, pero yung tinanong niya mga Dutch people. So pinasagot niya mga Dutch people, which is a better place to live. And yung expectation talaga namin, tama talaga yung expectation namin. Pag nakita nila na coast or may tubig, feeling nila beach. So parang I want to live there. Ganun. So yung ano nila sa may tubig,
Ah,
very livable siya. Pero and yung point ng MSc thesis na yun was parang the importance of local context. Kasi hindi nila alam na may parang, kasi sa Ghana may historical ano yung coast, kasi sa slave trade, yun yung parang may historical trauma, I guess, in that sense. So pero sa Dutch kasi parang nakikita yung yung European perspective was, tubig, gusto ko diyan. So walang kulang ng local context. So nag-iiba yung perspective mo because of that. So ayun, yan yung main ano ng paper na uh, parang hina-highlight ng talaga yung subjectivity. Like how subjective ba is livability. And also, yeah, how different are perspectives of different groups of people. Yun yung ano.
gaano kadaming tao yung parang in-interview nyo para makakuha yung perspective nila at matrain yung AI?
Ano, yung pinuntahan namin, so sa Ghana lang, so 2 cities yun, Accra and Tema. I think 6 communities, 6 slum communities. Tapos isang planners workshop or session. Um, ah, hindi masyadong marami. Actually, mga, I would say, exactly siguro mga 90? No, mga 100 people, including 100 something people. Pero yung ano nila was the votes. So, or yung pagpili ng which is a better place to live. I think sa slum residents, nakuha namin about almost 40,000 votes. So 40,000 ano yan, comparisons of 2 images na which is a better place to live. So about almost 40,000, and then I think about almost mga 18,000 I think sa ano sa planners naman, sa local stakeholders.
So bali yung comparison lang based on, for example, may satellite image ka nung ganitong lugar, tapos ganitong lugar,
Mhm.
i-compare mo lang kung saan nila mas gusto
Oo.
tumira.
Oo.
Ah,
Parang saan para sa'yo yung ano, mas better place to live. Pero before that exercise, nag-aano kami muna ng parang orientation, kasi hindi lahat familiar sa parang overhead view or hindi sanay na makakita ng satellite image. So may short orientation kami na parang like, ito, pansin niyo ba 'to? Ano ba 'to? Road. Pero pansin niyo ba, ano ba yung difference ni eto tsaka eto na road? Okay, eto paved, eto hindi. So at least medyo may understanding sila na, and for example, eto yung bahay, like eto bahay. And then para may understanding sila of what they're seeing on sa image. Pero also before that, before dun sa app mismo, workshop kami ng parang nag-print out kami ng images na on separate bond papers, tapos parang may manual version ng app na okay, may etong dalawang pictures, which is the better place to live. Eto, bakit ito? And then may reasoning na sila. Kasi ano, yung isa mas maraming green. Eto sobrang dense ng ano. Eto may ano river, so may ano diyan, may basura diyan. Di ko gusto diyan. So may mga ano na, at least medyo ready sila, hindi sila yung parang, "Ano 'to? Ha?" Medyo informed na sila when they start dun sa ano, sa actual data collection.
diyan din pala curious ako kasi yung binabanggit mo parang in a way parang may training sa tao paano i-interpret yung satellite images, 'di ba? So ngayon
Mm.
naman sa AI, how did you train yung AI na ma-recognize yung mga features dun sa satellite images,
I
at ano yung mga features na ginagamit niya to ano, to classify
to
yung
to
image, bla bla bla.
kasi actually yung ano namin before was ano, yung sa first paper was nung sa advisor ko, ginawa nila from the votes, from the comparisons, may ginawa siyang parang gaming tournament. If familiar tayo sa like chess, ELO rating or kung sa online Dota for example, MMR, yung mga ganito. So may rating ka on how good you are. So trinit siya in that way na so for example, if dalawang image, 'di ba? If ito yung pinili as the better place to live, parang nanalo siya. So yung rating niya tataas and then yung isa bababa. And then you do that as many times as you can across different magpe-pair ka ng different images. At some point makakuha mo yung ranking of livability. Not in this case, hindi na siya gano'n kagaling sa chess, pero kasi yung question was which is a better place to live. So sa ano na yung most livable and least livable. So hindi pa yan yung AI, ano lang yan, parang online gaming thing. And yung ginamit namin was to train an AI taking two radar images. So hindi na siya yung nakita ng tao sa pagpili niya and yung nakita ng AI are two different things. Two different modalities. The same area, the same time, more or less, the same year at least. Pero yung nakita ng tao is RGB, yung parang Google Earth image.
Gets.
Pero yung training namin sa model was a radar image.
Lahat ng bands, parang ganun.
Oo. So, kasi yung nakita yung feeling namin, if for example, if optical to, if same sa Google Earth, for example, parang limited siya. If Google Earth, limited siya to one time step. If in the optical like Sentinel-2 or other satellite images na may clouds. So, mahirap siya i-scale to another area, for example, if maraming clouds, or to a different time kung maraming clouds. So, yung radar, parang siya yung nagbigay sa amin ng pinaka-advantage doon in terms of, kasi nakakita siya through the clouds, and also, so kahit saan mo dalhin, in any area in the world, and at any point in time na ever since nag-start siya kumuha ng images, may nakikita niya fully yung area. So, ayun, and nag-experiment din kami, trinay namin if and halos the same performance lang, kahit i-combine mo yung dalawa, yung radar and parang visible na images or yung RGB images, halos the same lang yung performance. So, nag-stick na kami sa radar. So yung radar fed into two radar images fed into a model. Very actually very basic or very hindi siya yung state of the art architecture kasi maliit lang yung image namin. So kasi 200 by 200 meters yung area, yung isang tile. So for a Sentinel-1 or a radar image, 20 pixels by 20 pixels. Maliit siya. Hindi mo siya like as a human being, hindi mo makikita yung
walang
hindi mo
details.
differentiate yung features. Pero sabi namin, sige, test natin. I-push natin yung limits ng model na to. And then, so very, I would say parang basic na architecture to identify features, deep learning architecture to identify features. Tapos yung is 1 or 0. So 0 being left, or yung left image was the better place to live, or 1 yung right image is the better place to live. And then nag-experiments din ng ilang weeks din yun na parang hinanap yung best configuration, ano ba yung best techniques para ma-maximize yung performance. Pero in the end, talagang based siya dun sa data, yung sa perspectives. Yun lang talaga yung major innovation, so to speak, ng method namin. Yeah, and then in-apply yun. So, di ba may, say,
Pero ano ba yun, gaano ka-accurate yung model nyo dun sa actual na perspective ng tao?
almost about 70%. And yung maganda dyan, like, though 70% siya, parang, hindi masyadong mataas. Pero kasi, if isipin mo, if dalawang very similar images, kasi walang equal choice. Parang walang, no choice, equal. Wala. Forced ka to make a choice of either one. So as a human, kung almost the same area sila, or almost the same, yung area ng green, yung density ng buildings, kung halos the same lang, parang almost random na lang yung choice mo. And tiningnan namin yung parang accuracy in that sense, na parang kasi may confidence din yung tawag dito, yung model, na parang very confident ako na ito yung tamang choice, and or ito yung choice ko is right, pero hindi ako masyadong confident. So tiningnan namin yung pan-distribution nun. Nakita naman namin na kung saan siya hindi masyadong confident, or nagkaka-error na, or most ng errors niya was those in the middle, na parang halos siguro human din, kasi wala namang tamang sagot, di ba? Yung parang subjective talaga siya to that so in the middle, dun yung may masyadong maraming errors, which is fine kasi if as long as hindi siya skewed one way or the other, basta andun lang sa gitna yung majority ng errors, okay lang. So kaya yung 70% or like 68%, medyo happy na kami doon. Na and tinest din namin kasi may ginawa akong parang online thing na magpipili ka ng dalawang image, tas yung model sasabihin niya, the right image is a better place to live by this much confidence. The left, then parang nagtest kami ng ilang pairs, tapos parang okay naman. It makes sense from a human perspective na ito yung choices nila, and also yung mga kung saan siya nagkakamali, makes sense din. I would have chosen the other one if kasi random lang.
Pero itong concept yun ng livability, di ba sabi mo parang comparison lang siya ng dalawang 200 by 200 meter area, di ba? So hindi nyo pa siya parang ginagawa ng mas complex na model, like for example, gaano kalayo ito sa hospital, gaano kalayo sa school or something.
Yan yung namin. Kasi pinag-discuss din namin yan na parang mag-a-allow ba tayo or magbibigay ba tayo ng information kung saan yung area na to. Pero ang mahirap kasi is ang daming di nakikita ng tao, pero alam nila na, for example, and ang hirap niya i-quantify in that sense. So
baka hindi mo matapos yung PhD, no?
So sabi namin, i-limit na natin kung anong nakikita nila within the 200 by 200. May mga tanong dyan before na parang, what if may river doon sa dulo na talaga ng like next to the yung border ng if may river doon, mag-a-affect yun. Sa case natin, hindi. Kasi hindi siya nakikita ng tao. May mga ideas kami na parang, for example, magbibigay kami ng say 100 meter na buffer around, na parang hindi siya parang slightly darker lang siya or slightly transparent. Parang may onting context. Pero sabi namin, okay, pero paano natin malalaman na yung reasoning ng tao is based sa anong nakikita niya within the 200 by 200 meter na tile, or something na nakita niya dun sa buffer. So,
sana nilakayan nyo na lang yung tile, parang gano'n.
Oo, di ba? Kung gano'n naman pala. So, ayun. Pero yung AI voter talaga was na ano ba, like yung idea was born in, sa Spain actually. Nag-research stay ako sa Spain dun sa advisor ko. Tapos, first time ginawa was to predict, AI model to predict the score, yung para ranking na agad. So, kuha ka muna ng comparisons, tapos, kunin mo yung rank, and then yung AI model, mag-aano, ipe-predict niya yung livability score niya or yung rank. Tapos sabi namin, pero hindi natin 'to masi-scale. Kasi need pa rin natin ng, sobrang daming votes for the ano. Sabi ah, nung advisor ko, "What if we train the AI to make the vote?" Sabi ko, "Oo nga 'no, puwede 'no?" Tapos I think sobrang excited ko sa idea na yun, na bumalik ako sa accommodations ko. Dinevelop Trinain ko yung gumawa ako ng model, na sinet up ko lahat, and then the next day sabi ko, "It works." I think parang the next before lunch, nag-message na ako sa kanya, "It works, can we meet in the afternoon?" Parang gusto ko 'to ipakita sa'yo na parang we're onto something here na all in less than 24 hours na na nagawa yung idea na yun. And then parang na prototype agad, and then from there nag-in-improve na namin. And eto na yung paper is parang the culmination of that work.
Pero siguro just to emphasize lang din, yung goal ay hindi naman to replace yung mga tao na urban
Hindi,
planners, di ba?
hindi. Actually yung idea of the map was, of the resulting maps, ay parang conversation starter siya between both the residents and the planners, na kasi usually, um, parang may isang map na ginagamit, and then if ever man may discussions, if ever man may inclusions of the slum residents or DOA deprived urban area residents, may isang map, and then etong gagawin namin, etc., etc. Pero in this case, parang dalawa sila, they come with their own maps, and kita nila na, yan yung gusto niyo. Kasi wala yan wala yang part na yan yung, yan yung gusto niyo. Kasi it's hard for people sa deprived urban areas to show ano ba yung gusto namin? Ano ba yung what do we think is the best place to live or a better place to live? So wala yan sa conversation. So parang pino-provide namin yan, and then para kita din ng residents kung ano ba yung perspective ng planners, na parang siguro sa conversation, sa discussions na yun, parang okay, gets bakit yan yung gusto niyo, or possible din na hindi ko pa rin gets bakit ganun yung perspective niyo, pero at least conversation starter siya. And hindi lang any conversation, pero parang fair na conversation, kasi kayo lahat equal yung parang starting point nyo, yung map na yun, knowing na it came from your perspectives, your local perspectives. Yan yung and very emphasized yung sinabi mo na dun sa paper, very emphasized dun na the point of the AI voter is not to replace people, kasi in the end there are so many different perspectives, and kasi to an individual level medyo may aggregation na kami na ginawa, 'di ba, na parang inassume namin na yung planners same lang ng pag-iisip, same lang ng perspective. Actually hindi. May variability din sa nila, and also sa residents may variability din within the individuals. Kung kaya pa lang gumawa ng AI voter from each person's perspective, no? Tapos, pero sobrang complex na din. Parang may certain level of aggregation na parang, what do you guys see in common? And then ano ba yung nakikita niyo in common? And yun nga yung sinabi ko, na parang we can group these comparisons in so many different ways. Yung participants, group them in male, female, age, education level, from place, kung taga saang community sila, nagma-matter ba yun? Yeah, important pa rin talaga yung people kasi uh, you'll never be able to parang model the variability of everyone. So, ayun.
Ayun, so I guess madami na kami na-discuss dun sa paper. For anyone interested, check nyo yung link sa description. Palagi naman nakalink dito yung yung mga papers. Ngayon naman, discuss naman natin yung more on behind the scenes kasi 'di ba ito yung study niyo ginawa niyo sa Ghana tapos yung institute niyo ay nasa Netherlands. So paano yung funding situation nung ginawa yung study na to?
So yung project mismo, yung Space for All project, yung ano ba, nagsulat sila ng project proposal in 2022, I think, or 2021. And sinabit nila to NWO, which is the Dutch Research Council, parang DOST of the Netherlands in a way. Tapos yung funding na yun came with 2 PhD positions na fully along with parang field funding for field work, funding for travel equipment, etc. Mga ganun. So and plus the funding for the PhD for the whole 4 years. So actually hindi ako yung ng proposal. My call for an application for an open PhD position, tas nag-apply lang ako to that position. Yeah.
Nakaka-encounter ba kayo ng criticisms na regarding parachute science na you're from another country, pumupunta ka ng ganong country to do your study, blah blah blah.
Oo, actually may din yung isang conference na at dito sa Netherlands na parang everybody doing research on SDGs and in lower related to SDGs and in lower middle income countries. So may doon. And then may discussion doon na parang yun nga very extraction yung ginagawa. Sa case namin, very very sensitive kami with that point kasi may citizen science aspect kami, 'di ba? Kasi pumupunta kami ng communities ganun. Pero we make it a point na hindi siya extractive kasi parang we make it a point na nagiging full circle yung kino-complete namin yung cycle of what citizen science is supposed to be. Na parang babalik ka with your to share anong ginawa niyo anong ginawa namin with the data that we collected, and then also from the very beginning parang ini-engage na namin sila like ano ba yung needs niyo, ano ba yung kailangan niyo, like in the sense of needs, in the sense of needs na makakatulong kami. So and very clear kami, for example, hindi kami NGO. Like hindi kami, we're not here to, for example, build toilets, for example. Hindi yan yung purpose namin. So very transparent kami from the beginning na ito yung gagawin namin and ito yung gusto namin gawin for your community, and tell us what ano pa ba, what others or are we correct, are we wrong, di nyo ba to need, baka di nyo to need and hindi na namin gagawin, for example, or iba na yung gagawin namin, and then after the collection of data and modeling and analysis ganun, yung maps binalik din namin to the communities and to the planners. So yes, still very much an issue of parachute science na parang this saviors complex in a way, pero I think we try to minimize that as much as possible kasi yung concern talaga dun, especially in deprived urban areas, ang daming researchers na parang pupunta ng communities, aalis, and you'll never hear from them again. At least for example on our end, though delayed, pero parang nagbabalik kami ng report na ginagamit ng kasi dalawa kaming PhD na gumagawa ng research in the same areas. So, yung isa focus more on flood, sa akin more on livability, sa kanya flood vulnerability, sa akin just a better place to live. And then, nagagamit nila, for example, for advocacy sa communities. And then for sa planners naman, yun, more intervention planning, and yun, for discussing with residents. Pero specifically dun sa residents, parang, uy, eto pala yung ano natin. Or may mga areas, for example, na di nila na-realize na, ay, o nga, no, yung area na to parang need to ng intervention or some upgrading or some help or in one way or another. So, nagagamit nila for advocacy din. So, yeah, yan yung parang way namin to kind of minimize the impact of that or to avoid that.
Ano yung masasabi mo na very memorable na good experience naman in doing this study? Kasi yung binanggit natin ng parachute science, medyo ano siya eh, medyo controversial na experience. So ano yung very memorable in a good way na experience mo dito
Very
sa research?
memorable. Actually, yung mga yung mga workshops na ginawa. So, nagawa na namin yung workshops in ako sa Ghana, and sa Kisumu in Kenya. And also sa Mozambique, pero hindi kami kasi may partner organization kami na train and to do the workshops in Mozambique. Pero yung para sa akin yung workshops mismo with the communities, very kasi very engaging yung mga tao and very excited sila to na parang may parang kasi at first very sila, ay may game. Parang mobile game siya kasi sa cellphone sila, di ba? So, parang yan yung parang initial nila. Pero at some point, parang kasi medyo 1 hour sila gumagawa ng comparisons, no? In the beginning, parang fun lang. Pero medyo sa gitna ng uy, nagigets ko na ano yung perspective ko. Kasi parang nare-realize ko na gaano ako pumili. Kasi parang mid check-in kami with and very lang siya to see and to parang na yun na parang nagigets naman talaga ng mga tao eh. Ano mo yun? And also just like yung communities themselves and yung mga local co-anchors namin, yung mga local partners namin. Like around especially doon sa Kisumu kami kasi tawag dito near the ocean siya, so facing near the lake siya, facing the lake. Tapos may area doon dinala kami doon, sunset, very lang yun, very local yung experience kasi parang sinabi nung local partner namin na may magandang place doon pero parang hindi doon pumupunta yung mga locals. Dito tayo. So, dinala kami sa parang very, hindi naman siya bar, pero parang, yung may mga tables lang sa gilid ng, parang Pilipinas lang din, na by the beach, mga tables, tapos magdadala ng drinks, ng snacks, tapos yung waves, tapos sunset, and then ang daming tao, tapos nagpa-play ng Afrobeats music, very yung vibes lang talaga ng very, very sabi ko, pwede, I would live here. Kung very vibey yung place, yung whole city lang mismo. Yeah, memorable experiences of definitely yung the places that we've been.
Ito for the memes lang to na tanong, nakipaghabulan ka na sa mga lion doon?
Actually yung dun sa Kisumu, yung kasi may part doon na medyo yun nga sa lake. May part doon na parang dapat 6 PM umalis na kayo. Kasi lalabas na yung mga hippo.
Ah.
Tapos 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 wild hippo pa naman. So, nung sinabi nila yun, hindi na, parang kami, hippo.
Akala
Anong
mo cute,
hippo?
no?
Tapos, ano kami, may parang nagbangka kami to, mga siguro mga 30 minutes doon lang sa yung isang kasama namin, hindi niya gusto kasi nasisisik siya. So, nagstay lang siya doon. Nung pagkaalis talaga ng bangka namin, may hippo doon sa gilid na parang lumabas siya. Tapos pagkatapos, "Oh, 6 p.m. guys, uwi na tayo, ah." Pag sunset, uwi na talaga tayo kasi hindi puwedeng parang totoo pala may hippo nga talaga.
Aggressive pala, no? Akala mo cute sa
Oo,
mga sa mga video.
sa mga picture. Yun na, tapos sinasabihan kami na, "Oh, hindi, ano yan, ano yun, hindi yan gusto ng mga, hindi nila gusto yung mga tao." Okey.
Nakakaisang oras na rin pala tayo. Ano ang mga ma-advice mo sa mga aspiring researchers?
Hmm, um, ano ba, wag matakot, wag matakot mag-try. And wag matakot if may naiisip ka na idea, um, pag-usapan mo with other people na interested in potentially in that topic. Kasi um, you never know if what's a good idea or not until marami na kayong na nag-uusap about it. And I think in general and then just don't be afraid to try. Kasi especially if hindi mo pa na-try. So yeah. Uh, and ano din, work-life balance.
True,
Work-life
true.
balance. I think isa sa mga ano namin dito, at least sa mga PhDs dito sa na friends ko dito sa ITC, sa U20, we are more than our PhD. So you need to have a life outside of the PhD. So very important yun sa amin dito.
Siguro echo ko lang yung sinabi mo na wag matakot mag-try. Kasi kapag hindi mo sinubukan sigurado 100% magfe-fail ka.
Fail.
So take the chance kahit na
'Di ba?
maliit lang. Oo.
Oo, kasi kahit mag-fail ka, matututo ka naman, 'di ba?
Ah,
Sa like, "Uy, nag-fail ako dahil XYZ." And then alam mo next time na if magta-try ka again, alam mo na kung how to do things better. So, no lose yung win-win situation talaga kahit mag-try.
ay ito pala sorry, must ask ko ito sa lahat ng episodes, eh.
Oo.
Kailan mo na-realize na puwede nang ipasa for publication yung results niyo?
Hmm. Um, Actually nung first results ng maps, ng livability maps, actually nung AI voter pa lang na idea, parang sabi namin, if ma-reach natin yung parang ma-prove natin yung, um, parang utility nito to scale, yun pa lang is, a message in itself. Pero nung nakita namin yung results na may divergence, may differences yung perspective ng residents tsaka planners, and then may s pockets of similarities din um, yung perspectives nila. Sabi namin, eto, this is a message na gusto natin ipalabas sa community na the importance nga of not just local, kasi local perspective naman yung planners, pero just a more complete local perspective. Parang the importance of that and showing what we're missing, or what people are missing when you don't include certain perspectives.
Yun. And last question, do you have anything to promote?
Anything to promote? In by early next year, hopefully, gagraduate na ako. Baka may mga postdoc opportunities diyan.
Balik scientist
Pero
ka daw.
ah, and ano ba? Space for All project of ITC U20. If you're interested in doing a master's in geoinformation science and Earth observation, ITC may may solid na program. I think at least in my experience, may solid siya na program for masters, and may ample opportunities of scholarships din. So yeah. Oh, and also shout out, promote CENV of UP Cebu Center for Environmental Informatics. And ano pa ba? Si LiDAR, yan yung ano ko, parang training ground ko of geospatial, of geoinformation.
Ayun, so I guess hanggang dito na lang muna tayo. Maraming salamat kay Enzo sa pagpapaunlak ng aming imbitasyon.
Salamat din, Paul, for the invitation.
Maraming salamat sa lahat ng nakinig at nanood. See you everyone next week. Madami pa tayong pag-uusapan na research na ginagawa ng ating mga Pinoy scientists.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.